Not a movie. Next morning, the man, unbeknownst to her, slipped something into her drink, but it's not a movie. For every case of rape where drugs are used to incapacitate women, it's estimated that 9 cases go unreported. And it can be done by people you least suspect, like friends and acquaintances. This past winter, John Quinones found that the drugs are all too easy to get, and he also found a case in point. A man people trusted accused of drugging women and worse.
For Nancy Coleman and Stephen Serra, life seemed picture perfect right from the beginning, their wedding in 1989.
What was he like?
Charming. He was very kind and giving and very thoughtful, and you just kind of got taken in by that.
But there were other women also taken in by the same thing.
How would you describe Stephen?
Charming. Very charming.
Tammy met Stephen last year on one of his business trips to Arkansas, where he ran a lumber company. They started dating.
I asked him several times, "Are you sure you're divorced?" He said, "Yes, I am divorced."
She says she didn't know of Stephen's family life back in Texas, a life he made sure he captured on videotape.
Merry Christmas.
The loving wife, beautiful daughter, and another little one on the way. And Nancy, of course, didn't know about Tammy or about Stephen's double life, though increasingly there were problems. She caught Stephen in a myriad of lies, but not even her suspicions prepared her for the day she turned on her camcorder, expecting to see video of the birth of their new baby. She was in for a shock.
How would you describe what you saw on that videotape?
Oh, just devastating.
There, before her eyes, was a series of taped encounters. Her husband having sex with 3 different women who Nancy says were lifeless, unconscious, while Stephen repeatedly violated them. The tape has now been placed under seal by an Arkansas court. But before that, Primetime was able to obtain a copy. Is this proof of a serial rapist at work? Well, the images we've seen on the tape are so graphic, there's almost nothing we can broadcast. But on this part of the video that we've blurred, you can see Stephen moving one of the women around like a rag doll. What we can't show you is what happens next. Stephen engaging in repeated sexual acts. The women seemingly unaware of what's happening to them. They appear knocked out, as if they were drugged.
There's no question that this was her husband on the videotape. Stephen is seen all over it, making sure the camera is just right.
Oh, this has been really hard for me.
It kind of leaves you with a hole in your heart.
Jack Pate, Nancy's attorney, has also seen the tape.
These women, they have no movement. They are knocked out, and he is preying upon them like a wild animal.
It only convinced Nancy to go through with the divorce that she had already filed for. She took the tape and confronted Stephen.
He said, "If you don't give me that tape back, I'm going to go to jail. And you don't want me to go to jail, do you?" And I told him, "I don't really care what happens to you, Steve. Look what you've done to all of us."
In a desperate attempt to get the tape back, Nancy says Stephen took Chandler, their 4-year-old daughter.
At 9 o'clock at night, he went into her room and took her from her bed and walked out the door, and I couldn't stop him.
He was holding her like a hostage.
Yeah, I told him, "I'll give you the tape back. Just give me our daughter."
2 days later, she says, Stephen brought Chandler back. But by then, Nancy had already arranged to turn the tape over to police. With her daughters, she went into hiding.
I had just witnessed him raping 3 women. I didn't know what he would do to me.
Police identified 2 of the victims, a 19-year-old college student from Missouri and a 32-year-old woman from Texas. They suspected that the 3rd woman on the tape lived in Warren, Arkansas, where Stephen had his business. So they sent a copy of the tape to Sheriff John Kidwell.
It's as bad as anything I've ever seen.
I don't want to see it again. I would describe it as the worst kind of perversion.
The sheriff was a third victim, a woman from town who knew Stephen well, Tammy.
They had positively identified me as being the person on the tape.
You say this man was raping you
Yes.
on videotape, and you never knew it happened?
No. Had no clue. I was sleeping. I was snoring. Had he chosen to, he could have very well killed me very easily. And I would have known nothing about it. There would have been nothing I could do. And that's very scary.
Like Tammy, none of the other women even suspected that they'd been raped. Investigators believe that's because all of them were drugged by Stephen's Sarah. But police had no hard proof until they got a lucky break.
Never in my wildest dreams would have thought he would do anything like that to me.
Jackie Haygood worked for Stephen at his lumber company. One night after work, she says, he fixed a couple of drinks.
Handed me mine like this and held it until I took the cup. He said, when I count to 3, drink it. When he counted to 3, we drank it, and immediately I felt something grainy as I swallowed it. I asked him what he put in my drink. He said, nothing. There's nothing. I didn't put anything in your drink.
You know something was in that drink?
I knew something was in it.
Within minutes, she says, she passed out. Police believe Stephen then took her to a local bed and breakfast where they were spotted by someone Stephen knew. It was only that chance encounter that may have prevented Jackie's rape. He took her back home.
I vaguely remember him helping me into the car, and that's all I remember until the next morning.
After Jackie woke up, she called her doctor and went in for a drug test. The results came back positive for flunitrazepam or rohypnol, roofies. It's notoriously known for its illicit use as the date rape pill. Rohypnol is used as a sleeping medication in some countries, but in the U.S., it's illegal. It's incredibly powerful, 10 times stronger than Valium, and it causes short-term amnesia, memory loss. It's this same drug that authorities now believe Stephen may have given to all of his victims.
Smacks of necrophilia. And I would have a problem with someone that can enjoy that.
This is Stephen Sarah, now charged with drugging and raping women in 3 states. We met him outside his jail cell in Warren, Arkansas. He agreed to talk to us with his lawyer at his side.
None of this would have happened if 2 things wouldn't have occurred. If I would not have filed for custody of my 2 daughters, and if Nancy had not found, the videotape.
What's seen on the tape, he says, is not criminal, it's consensual.
You call it consensual sex. The women call it rape.
Yes, I do, and I understand that.
Did you drug these women?
No.
You did not?
No, we did
use
not
any
drug these.
drug?
No, none at all.
If these women were not drugged, why are they knocked out on the tape? They appear lifeless.
Have you seen the tape?
I've seen the tape, and what we see on the tape is far from consensual. I mean, it is obscene and repulsive.
Well, I can't comment on that.
Mr. Sarah, they're lifeless. And they don't remember a thing from the night before. In fact, they don't even remember being in the same building with you.
They say.
They say.
And you don't believe them?
No. All of them woke up in bed with me. I find it ludicrous that all of them think that nothing happened.
He claims the women knew they were being videotaped and says the tape may have been edited to make it look more incriminating. By filing lawsuits against him, he says, 2 of the victims are simply trying to make money. As for drugging the women with rohypnol...
No, I did not use rohypnol. First time I had heard of that was when I was arrested.
But what about this? Evidence police say was found in Stephen's belongings. A mixed bag of drugs, including 38 tablets of rohypnol and an empty container in his briefcase.
I don't think that's something that I'm aware of, that I've been shown.
Honestly,
And what about Jackie Haygood, who suspected she'd been drugged by Stephen and then tested positive for rohypnol in her system?
Steve Sarah says he never drugged you.
then Steve Sarah is a liar. He knows he did it.
What prosecutors want to know now is just where did Steve Serra get his hands on such a powerful, illegal drug? Well, the answer may lie just across the Rio Grande, in Juarez, Mexico.
Primetime has obtained documents showing that in just 1 year, Stephen paid for at least 5 trips to El Paso. From here, we also know he crossed the border into Juarez. We decided to follow his trail, and we brought along a hidden camera.
We were looking for something called Rohypnol, you know.
As soon as we mentioned the drug, a cab driver knows exactly where to take us. In fact, he drove us to the same pharmacy where another cab driver told Primetime he took Stephen Serra on more than one occasion. It's legal Rohypnol in Mexico, but only with a prescription. We didn't have one.
Okay, well, how much? As much as you got. How much can I get? 5 bottles?
We easily bought 100 tablets, and that same cab driver told us Stephen bought at least 2 bottles of Rohypnol here. Most of the pharmacies we visited had a ready supply.
It's a bottle of 20, and it's, what was it, $25 for the bottle of 20.
And we can buy as many as we want? Okay.
Just be careful going back.
Why? What?
You'll go to jail.
You go to jail?
Yes.
Okay.
We are led into back rooms where the roofies are taken out of their packaging and put in plastic bags. This way it's easier to smuggle them into the U.S.
The reason they outlawed it so much is because the guys were giving it to the girls. See, the properties of this is you can't smell it, you can't taste it, and it won't change the color of the drink. So what happened is they were slipping in the girls' drinks. Girls would drink, and they rape them.
He then gives us some directions on how to take Rohypnol or use it on someone else. Listen carefully.
Now, if you just want it for plain sleeping, you can take just half of one or one, and you'll go to sleep real nice. Now, if you conk, like you want to conk somebody out, you give them 4 or 5, and boom, you know, they're gone.
4 or 5?
They're gone for good. Yeah, because you can move them around and everything, they're gone.
They're out, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here he is right there.
The next day we return with our cameras out in the open and some questions.
I'm an American reporter. My name is John Quinones. Primetime Live.
I want you to turn that thing on.
We want to talk to you about the drugs.
I want you to turn it off. Get it out.
You sold me
Get
this.
out of here.
I want to know why you sold it to me without a prescription.
He had nothing else to say. Only the salesman at this store agreed to talk to us.
You know how dangerous Rohypnol is?
Yeah, I know, but it's their choice.
Women have told us that they were put to sleep with this
See,
drug.
that's the thing, though. A lot of
raped.
okay, that's the thing. Rohypnol is used for insomnia, and that's what it's for. Some people just just do it for the bad. But I mean, that's their problem. You know, if I saw it for the sickness, which is insomnia. You know.
A lot of women would give you part of the blame for having sold the drug.
But they can't do anything to me. You know. I mean, because most of these cases are in the United States, right? Look where I'm at. I'm in Mexico. They can't do anything.
If you hadn't discovered this tape, no one would have known.
Yeah. No one would have known, and there would have been more victims.
How can you say that?
Because he didn't stop at 1. He didn't stop at 2. He got busted at 3. That's all.
The women in our story agreed to talk because they wanted other women to know that this can happen to anyone. Earlier this year in Arkansas, Stephen Serra was convicted of kidnapping, rape, sexual abuse, and drugging his victims. He's begun serving a 30-year sentence, but is appealing his conviction. And by the way, Hoffman LaRoche, the maker of Rohypnol, has begun putting a blue dye into the drug in 10 different countries in which it's sold, a dye that will make it easier to spot in drinks. Mexico, however, hasn't approved that change. Their Rohypnol is still colorless.
Night.